Welcome to the Fantasy Football Units podcast. I am your host, Alex Bruno, here with Jordan Hudson. How you doing today, Jordan?
A lot better than Bill O'Brien's doing right now.
Yeah, if most of you who don't know who Bill O'Brien is, it's probably because...
You're not a Texans fan.
Yeah, he finally got fired.
Yeah, I mean, especially after losing to the Chiefs in the playoffs when you were up 21-0 in the first quarter. You started the season 0-4. I mean, there's no sense keeping you around, really. I mean,
and got rid of DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, and basically just got David Johnson for him.
And a draft pick, but...
He basically just got David Johnson for him.
Yeah, all right. Moving on with some news for you guys. 2 more Titans players have tested positive for COVID.
Bringing the total to 22. Well, that's counting staff members and coaches, but still, that's a really bad outbreak for an NFL team. We could possibly end up seeing a situation like the Marlins had for the MLB where they're just like, all right, this team's canceled for the year. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, but now the Titans, the Raiders, and the Patriots all have at least one player or staff member that's tested positive for COVID, so that could be 6 possible games that get canceled or postponed. I mean, it's going to be a bad year, guys, so just, strap in and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough for everybody. I don't know what I'm going to do if I lose some players.
I mean, you're just going to have to play that waiver wire and stuff. You're going to be... I mean, it's because it's going to affect everybody, especially when it's 6 different teams. So everybody's going to have lower scoring weeks. Everybody's going to be playing the waiver wire, picking up free agents. It's going to be different. You just got to try to ride it out. We'll try to give you guys as much information as we can, especially now that we're going to do the 6 games this week. Last week, luckily, it was only 6 teams, sorry. Last week, luckily, it was only 2 teams. We had the scare with the Chiefs-Patriots game, but they ended up playing. And, I mean, we don't know. The Chiefs could end up having players that test positive, especially that wide receiving core that was playing against Stephon Gilmore. So... yeah, it's not looking good, but let's move on to not COVID-related stuff.
Yeah, we have Dwayne Haskins benched, and Kyle Allen will be starting for the football team.
So he'll get benched next game, and this is probably Alex Smith's team now.
That would be pretty
That'll be exciting.
Cool.
I like to watch Alex Smith play.
Yeah, hopefully he's fully healthy, though. Coming back from that injury, It's going to be pretty tough for him to do that. But nonetheless, I'd be excited to see Alex Smith.
Oh, yeah. Chubb's out for anywhere from 6 weeks to, if not the whole season right now.
Yeah, Stefanski said that he doesn't expect Nick Chubb to be back at all this season, so it's looking like the Kareem Hunt show.
Yeah, I mean, he's in his contract year, so they'll probably try to bring him back, especially if they look like they're going to be able to make a playoff run. But other than that, they'll just have Kareem Hunt, especially after D'Ernest went out and got you 95 yards on 13 carries. Well, it didn't get you because nobody had him on their team. He might have, maybe in Dynasty, but every Dynasty league I'm in,
he's on the bench,
yeah, his waiver price. No, he wasn't.
No?
He was on waivers for every Dynasty league I'm in.
Oh, man.
Surprising. There were leagues that he went as high as $67. And the guy had 100, so that's 67% of his budget.
Man. Austin Eckler on the IR with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, he's going to miss 4 to 6, maybe even 8 weeks, depending on how bad it actually is. But we're just going to have to keep an eye on that. Justin Jackson's coming back from injury at the right time, so that's really good for him. So him and Josh Kelly should be able to get it done there.
Are you trusting Josh Kelly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was doing fine with Eckler there. I just don't know who's going to get the receiving work, if it's going to be him or Justin Jackson. Neither one of them are actually receiving, backs, but
yeah,
we'll see.
I don't know if they'll trust Kelly after fumbling 2 straight games.
Hunter Henry could just be getting an uptick in targets because of this. And then, if you give Keenan Allen any more targets, he's just going to be like Michael Thomas. Not as good as Michael Thomas. Honestly, he's probably a better route runner than Thomas, but he does not have the hands that Thomas does. Nobody does. That man was blessed.
Yes, that is true. O.J. Howard out for the season.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
He had a great game.
Yeah, I don't think that's really going to do much for Gronk. Like, he might get 2 of those targets, but I think more of the targets will go to whoever they're throwing to in the backfield. I think Ronald Jones could start getting those 5-6 targets a game.
Right. Hopefully, he was looking pretty good.
Yeah. But Gronk was limited at practice this week, so go dig deep and see what's on that depth chart for tight end.
Everyone was limited in practice for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, so just keep an eye on that because as we know, Tom Brady can throw to anybody. I mean, he just makes people around him better, so. Michael Thomas most likely out for another week. I want him to come back because I drafted him in a lot of redraft leagues, and I have him in a dynasty or two, but I'd rather him be healthy when he does come back so I can see that wide receiver 1 overall.
Sony Michel in the IR with the quadricep.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that's because how good Damian Harris did this week. I think Belichick's just like, okay, you know what? I did draft you in the second round.
Might as well use you.
Yeah, let's actually use you. You're healthy. Let's go.
Yeah. Any more injuries?
There's a lot of people like that were held out of practice. Ridley was limited today. Julio didn't practice. Hollywood Brown and Lamar both were limited. Actually, Lamar sat out of practice. Kareem Hunt and OBJ were limited. Fant's doubtful for Sunday. Waller and Ruggs were limited today. I mean, like, all these big names were limited. So, guys, keep an eye on that.
Chris Godwin out again.
Yep, Chris Godwin's out again. So, guys, really keep an eye on that. Khalil Mack's out, so that could be really good for Ronald Jones and for Tom Brady. So, you've got to be watching that injury report on Sunday morning. Make sure they have to put it out 90 minutes
Thursday
before the
too.
game starts. Yeah.
For the Bucks, so you got to check that tomorrow.
Yeah, so make sure you're checking that at least an hour before game starts. That way you can make your moves because we actually do have a few players we're going to talk about later on that we're not going to say this much, but we do like for the Thursday night game.
Yeah.
So especially with there being the possibility of 3 games not being played this week, you need to play people that you know are starters. So.
Yeah.
Oh, Juju didn't practice either.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising since he already had a week off to rest and everything.
That's not good.
Maybe just another rest day.
But let's jump into a couple of these game recaps.
Yeah, first we have the Saints versus the Lions. It was a pretty good game for Tre'Quan Smith. He went 4 for 4 on total targets for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he did really good for you in fantasy this week. We actually had him benched in our co-owned Dynasty League, but we still snuck out with the win.
Nice.
Because we had Tanyan benched. We had a little game day debacle about that. And he's like, no, start Greg Olsen. But it's all good. We still got the dub.
It's Miami.
Yeah. But, hey, we got a tight end that we can start, almost week in and week out from now on.
Right. Kamara had 19 carries for 83 yards.
Of course he did.
And a touchdown. He's going to get in the end zone. Going to be number 1 probably. And he went 3 for 4 on his targets with 36 yards. He got snubbed a couple times in the red zone because Latavius Murray took some touchdowns away from him.
Emmanuel Sanders finally looked good. He got six of like 9 targets for 93 yards. So, and then Breeze was just all right. He went out there and got you 2 touchdowns and an interception. So
that's what Breeze has been doing all season so far.
Stafford got you an extra touchdown. Stafford went out there and got you 3 touchdowns.
With the interception.
Yeah, but Breeze threw an interception too.
Yeah. What do you think about AP?
He fell into the end zone for you and got you, depending on your league format, another 3.6. Well, actually, he didn't get any targets. So he only got you another 3.6 points. So, he's most likely a flex. Unless you have a lot of injuries, he might be your RB2 right now. So I'm not mad at it.
So would you start Swift over him, who had 4 carries with 22 yards and 4 catches?
In PPR, I would, but in standard, no.
Okay. Galladay went 4 for 8, 62 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah. Him and Hawkinson both kind of like resurrected their days with the touchdown. In PPR, Galladay wouldn't have done you too bad without the touchdown, but they both needed the touchdown to be relevant to me this week.
It was just a typical Lions game where they just get up ahead early and then they just give it away.
Oh, that's the Falcons and Lions. Never mind. The next game we're going to talk about is the Buccaneers and the Chargers. Brady went out there and got 5 touchdowns, 369 yards. He did give up an interception, but
For
if you throw 5 touchdowns, I'm okay with that. Yeah, it was his second pick 6 of the year, but I'm okay. He got me 5 touchdowns. I'm not tripping.
Evans had 8 targets.
Yeah, he had a monster day.
122 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, him and Miller both had a touchdown. O.J. Howard had a touchdown.
Before getting hurt.
Ronald Jones
Exploded.
20 carries for 111 yards.
I called it.
Yeah, you did. Keyshawn Vaughn finally saw his NFL debut.
Mm-hmm.
He got 3 carries for 4 yards. That sucks, but
how about Herbert?
Well, let me finish Vaughn. Jeez, this is the man's NFL debut, and you're not even going to talk about his touchdown?
Well, I just feel like he stole that from Ronald Jones, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I drafted him, okay, and I got him in the first round of a lot of the dynasty drafts.
Mm-hmm.
So
fair enough. But like I was saying,
before I so rudely interrupted you,
Mr. Justin Herbert, 20 for 25, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he threw an interception. Seems like everybody threw an interception this week except for Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, if your touchdown ratio's 5-1, 3-1, you can't really be mad at that because at the end of the season, okay, you got 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's a good stat line for your rookie year. I'm not going to be mad at that.
Yeah, it's not going to be a Jameis Winston stat line.
No. Keenan Allen went out there and got double-digit targets again, caught 8 of them for 62 yards. He didn't get a touchdown, but it's all good. I mean, Herbert threw to 3 different people, and that was their only target. Like, their touchdown was their only targets.
And those 3 people were undrafted free agents, by the way. So
Henry went 2 for 3 for 39, so he let you down because he's been getting a lot of targets this year from Herbert and from
Taylor?
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor before he went out, sorry.
Yeah.
He just hasn't been there so long. Out of sight, out of mind.
Right. We have the Bengals and Jags.
Joe Mixon.
He's back.
It didn't take him 8 games this year. It only took him 4.
Nice.
Frickin' 25 carries for 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, caught all 6 of his targets for 30 yards, and another touchdown. The man was the highest scoring running back this week.
Yeah, he was looking real good.
In a league that we're both in, I got 232 points. 42 of them came from him.
Very nice. Very nice. Tyler Boyd was reliable as usual. 7 for 8 with 90 yards. Unfortunately, didn't get into the end zone.
It happens.
But, yeah.
I mean, when Joe Burrow only throws 1 touchdown, you know,
and an interception.
Mixon's like, that's mine.
I mean, but he still...
300 yards, though?
Yeah. He still threw it a lot for 36 attempts. Gardner Minshew looked like he was back in rhythm, having DJ Chark out there.
Mm-hmm.
He threw for 351 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also threw an interception. My goodness. James Robinson looking good.
He's just looking like he's been all season. He's going out there and he's going to get you 100 yards from scrimmage every game. Mm-hmm. It's just whether he falls into the end zone or not. Like he has
a good floor. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's a really good floor. Like he's going to go out there and get you at least 10 points every week if you're in standard, and at least 13, 14 points every week if you're in full point PPR. He just is.
Yeah, I'm really liking how James Robinson is looking so far this year. Mm-hmm. Definitely one of my biggest surprises
he's definitely the fantasy rookie of the year right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. DJ Chark is back.
Yes, he is.
8 for 9, 95 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yes, sir.
That was nice to see as an owner myself. Vikings Texans.
Yeah, there's a couple players I want to touch on. The Great White Hope, 8 for 10, 114 yards, and a touchdown. I told y'all Cousins would have a pretty good game for a streamer this week, and he did. He got you a touchdown. He got you 260 yards. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was a streamer. Like, right. You know, you don't have one of those top guys. You can't expect him to go out there and get you 30 points, but he got you 18, 19 points depending on your setting. Yeah,
and it's kind of hard to get points in the air when you got a running back like Dalvin Cook who gets the ball 27 times, rushing for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Caught both of his targets for 16 yards, too.
Yeah, that man is scary.
Yeah, he was cooking.
Yeah, that he was. And Justin Jefferson.
Okay, yeah. 4 for 5 for 103 yards. Yeah, that was
pretty nice.
Yeah.
Pretty nice to see.
Watson didn't look too bad either.
300 yards.
300 yards, 2 touchdowns. DJ actually did pretty good. 16 carries for 63 yards and 2 catches for 29 yards. So he was fantasy relevant. I mean, he hasn't had no horrible games. He's at least got you 8 or 9 points at the least, but he's just not it for me. Like he's like, if my league has 2 or 3 flex spots, I might start him, but a lot of leagues where I just have 1 flex spot, he usually is the guy that ends up on the bench, and I have somebody in there like a Robert Woods, something along those lines.
What about Will Fuller, who went 6 for 7 with 108 yards and touchdown? Would you say he's a reliable start in your flex now?
No, he's a reliable wide receiver too every week.
You think he's past the whole injury thing?
Yeah. I mean, at least for this year, he's looking like he is. He's gone out there. He's getting, I'm pretty sure his average is somewhere around 7-8 targets a game.
I think he's scored in each game he's been back also.
I think that there might have been one. Oh, no, that was the week he didn't play. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. So, I have Fuller in a lot of leagues. I didn't start him like the first week or 2, but I've started him in week 3 and 4.
Yeah, and it's obvious he's taking that.
He's worked out for me.
He's taking that quote-unquote DeAndre Hopkins role for Deshaun Watson. Obviously, he's not going to get as many targets as Hopkins got. But
he's doing really good. He's really surprised me this year.
Kenny Stills had a touchdown.
Okay. That's irrelevant to me.
Right. But how about that Browns-Cowboys game?
I wouldn't say that was like a huge upset or anything, but I was surprised. I thought the Cowboys were going to win.
I was surprised on how many points were scored.
Oh, yeah. 49-38. Mm-hmm. Hunt went out there, had 11 carries for 71 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then out of nowhere, here comes Dearness Johnson with 13 carries and 95 yards, but that's unfortunately because Chubb went down, because before that, Chubb was eating.
Yes, he was.
Jarvis Landry threw the first touchdown of the game for 37 yards to OBJ, who ended up finishing 5 for 8 for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he also had that big carry, so he ended up finishing with 73 yards on the ground. Jarvis was pretty good for you in PPR, 5 for 6 for 4.8, 48 yards. So, full point PPR, that's 9.8. That's pretty good for your flex. Other than that, Baker just kind of managed the game because, when you have 3 different running backs that are just eating the whole game, there's not much you can do. So he did have 30 passing attempts, but it was 165 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Well, most of those points came from the Landry touchdown to Beckham running it 75 yards down the field, zigzagging through the defense and all that. So the Dallas defense wasn't looking too good, but their offense, Dak Prescott, my goodness,
they weren't looking too good. But I have picked them up for next week.
Yes,
we'll talk about that more on Saturday.
I as well have picked them up. But Dak Prescott, 58 pass attempts.
Yeah,
500 yards.
I love that I have that man in a couple leagues.
4 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's leading the NFL in passing yards right now.
1,600 already.
Yeah,
I think he's the first quarterback in history to reach that many yards in this short amount of time.
They've only played 4 games, so that means I know it's not going to happen. There's some yard regression coming, obviously, but 1734. He's on path to get 6,800 passing yards right now.
And he's getting the touchdowns with it, too. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
So, we're definitely going to see most likely a 5,000, 5,200 yard season from Dak Prescott.
That'd be cool.
At this rate, the touchdowns he's throwing, we could also see, a 35 to 40 touchdown season. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited. Dak's going out there and he's like, I want to be the highest paid. He wants that Pat Mahomes money.
Yeah, but he also has to win some playoff games to get that Pat Mahomes money.
He's got to have a coaching staff around him that'll allow him to do that, and McCarthy's not it.
No. Zeke, I don't know what's up with this guy. He's not.
He's like the RB5 right now.
The last 2 games, he hasn't. Is that because of Dak throwing so much, or?
He's still getting 20 points a game right now, so.
Yeah. He did catch 8 targets.
Yeah. He's 20 points a game.
Just not getting in the end zone.
He's not getting those huge, 30, 40-point games, but to be fair, these running backs that do that, they only do it once or twice a season. The only one that can, sustain 30 points a game is injured right now. Zeke getting 20 points a game, I'm ecstatic with that. If you want more than that, you're just greedy. You're just downright greedy.
Amari Cooper looking a little more reliable for Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised we haven't seen that whole home road split thing yet this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's been pretty solid in every game. He hasn't really fell into the end zone that much this year,
He
but
got one this week.
oh, I know. But I'm just saying he hasn't like all season. I think he's only got 2.
Actually, sir, it's just the one that he got this week. That's what he has.
Okay, so he's been doing good for you in PPR or half point, but not so much in standard.
Right, which is why I wouldn't really trust him all too much.
Yeah, fair enough.
Another person I'm starting not to trust on the Cowboys offense who's just been,
Michael Gallup.
just degrading.
I can just see it in your eyes.
Yeah, well, because I have him. And
Yeah,
was
CD Lamb is
disappointing.
just taken over.
Yeah, I was very upset. I sat him in one of the leagues we're in. I just didn't see it coming at all. But now he's shown to be that he
is
has
the
to
number
be
2
started.
there.
Yeah. Dalton Schultz not looking too bad either.
No,
4 for 8. He's getting those 8 targets. It's pretty good. He's
he's got 28 targets so far this year, and that's counting the first game where he was on the field for a limited amount of time because Jarwin was still there.
right, and he's getting into the end zone, so that's a big plus. Big plus.
Yeah. Let's move on to the booms and busts, though.
No other games to really talk about.
Not that are worthy.
No, our first boom we had mentioned earlier, Mr. Joe Mixon.
Oh, yeah. 25 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 for 6 through the air, 30 yards and a touchdown. You don't do much better than that because nobody did better than that.
Right, and if now's the time, if you were thinking about trading him, now's the time to trade him because you can sell high and get that nice number 1 receiver that maybe you're looking for, or maybe one of those top tight ends that you need.
Honestly, tight end, you should not be trading Joe Mixon for a tight end unless you're getting.
Well, that's what I was saying. Either
you'd
Kelsey
have to
or
get
Kittle.
Travis Kelce and somebody else. But a wide receiver. I mean, as good as he played this week, you should be able to sell him high enough for if you're getting a number 1 tight end, you should be able to get another solid piece.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're getting a wide receiver, you should be able to get a solid depth piece.
What's the wide receiver you would be looking for?
For Joe Mixon, I'm honestly going for a top 10 person. If I'm going for like a Michael Thomas or a D-Hop, I'm going to give you a little bit of extra piece with that. But, I mean, if I'm going for an Adam Thielen, if I'm going for
Devontae Adams,
yeah, like I'm just going to try to do a straight-up trade.
That's fair. Odell Beckham?
Yeah. The 2 carries for 73 yards really helped him out a lot. Then the 5 for 8 on his targets for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. I still don't think OBJ is back, so everybody
Especially
that thinks
this week.
he is, I don't think he is.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend having too much hope in him this week going against Indianapolis, who's
No, they're only allowing, I think,
159 yards over.
pretty
through the air?
sure.
I want to say I know they're number 1.
Yeah, they're only, oh man, it just went away. They're only allowing 159.2 yards through
Oh,
the air.
I was close.
And then 77 on the ground. So, they're the best defense in the league.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game for the Browns for sure.
Yeah, I'm not touching anyone on the Browns this week.
Yeah. Tom Brady,
Yeah. I mean, we touched on him earlier, too.
5 touchdowns. My goodness. But quarterback you called out last week, Mr. Two Gloves.
Oh, yeah, I told everybody to stream him.
Yeah, Teddy, 276 yards with 2 touchdowns. And he had an amazing 20-yard run to get in the end zone. It was looking like he's back from that long-term injury that people thought he was never going to be back from.
Oh, yeah, my other streamer, Robert Tonyan, 6 for 6 for 98 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice. George Kittle,
Oh
first
my
game back.
God.
15 for 15. 183 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, an opponent I was playing him in a league had him, and I was scared. Really scared. I ended up getting the dub, but I was still scared the whole time.
Yeah, he's definitely looking like that injury did not affect him at all.
No, not a lick.
And he was more taking that last week just as rest to make sure he was 100%, and it definitely showed this week. No doubt at all.
Another player that had a big game, Antonio Gibson. Oh, man, I love this kid. I'm telling you guys, he is going to be in for a very good career in the NFL. 13 carries for 46 yards and a touchdown, and then 4 for 5 through the air for 82 yards.
Yeah, and those targets through the air are definitely going to go up with Kyle Allen being his quarterback.
Oh, yeah, and then
the
when Allen Smith eventually ends up his quarterback, even better.
Mm-hmm.
Even better. He used to play in that Andy Reid offense, and we saw what he could do in 2017. I mean, the man ate.
Yeah, so Antonio Gibson, don't forget the name.
No.
But with booms comes busts.
Like big ones this week.
Yeah. Another disappointing performance from A.J. Green. 1 for 5 with 3 yards. He's droppable, I would say.
Yeah, let's talk about possibly the most disappointing bust this week, Calvin Ridley. 0 for
Goose
5
egg.
targets for a big 0 yards.
That was disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, nice. Disgusting. In the same. Nice as a
Disgusting
Packer
if the
fan.
opponent you had him, but I have him in 5 of my 7 leagues, so.
Yeah, I had him in a couple as well. It was not good at all. Julio Jones also didn't do much, but he left early with the injury.
Yeah, he
like
left
you
late
said.
in the second quarter. Another person who's been on this list before, Kenyon Drake, 35 yards on the ground. That's it. No targets.
Not
no,
good.
Just. And I told you guys to avoid David Montgomery this week, and I was right. 10 carries for 27 yards, 3 for 6 in the air for 30 yards. That's not even in PPR. That's only 8 points. That's not doing you much, guys. Not much at all.
Not at all. And a player I'm actually starting to be concerned about, Zach Ertz.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more concerned that it's Carson Wentz than anything, and that there's just no other targets, so he's probably getting double teamed a lot. I just haven't even been watching Philly games because I know they're going to be sad. But 4 for 5 for 9 yards, like that's bad.
Yeah. I had a bad call on Nick Mullins.
And I told you it was a bad call, to be fair.
200 yards, 2 interceptions.
Yeah, most of them from Kittle.
Yeah, but I did call it with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, you
So,
did.
I knew. I don't know why people would have faith in him. He's not that great. But
Yeah.
Tyler Higbee also had
Another
a dead
bad game for Higbee, yeah.
and another bad game for T.Y. Hilton. It was gross.
Well, let's move on. Like I was saying earlier, this is one of the Thursday night games that we actually kind of like. So we're gonna do, guys, a little prediction for you, a little preview, what we think's gonna happen, who we think you should be starting, who we think you should be avoiding. So you want to go ahead and start us off, Bruno?
With Chris Godwin being out and Evans being questionable right now, I think you're obviously not surprised by this one, but Scott Miller, if he ends up playing, he's gonna have another big game.
What would you say his stat line's gonna be?
With or without Evans?
With
Evans,
well, let's just say everyone's starting
everyone besides Godwin. Okay.
besides OJ too.
Okay, so yeah, obviously Scott Miller, maybe 8-9 targets. He hauls in 6-7 of them for 70+ yards and falls in the end zone.
That's pretty close to the stat line I have for Evans. I have him going 8 targets, 6 or 7 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good game through the air for that Buccaneers defense. Like you said, with Khalil Mack's looking to be out.
Chicago is really good against the pass, though. I see him having a better... it's Brady at the end of the day, and like you said, with Mack being out, but...
Would you say it's a boom-bust game for Brady with the short turnaround with the Thursday night game?
I wouldn't say it's going to be a bust game. I mean, there is a percentage that it happens, like maybe 5% chance that it happens at best. I think he's going to go out there and have a solid game. He's going to go out there, get you 230, 240 yards, and he's going to get you 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Okay. I also I think Ronald Jones is going to have another good game. Probably get those 20 carries that he received last week, especially if Fournette is looking to be out once again. Over 100 yards, possibly, with Khalil Mack being out, like we said, and receives 8 targets, catches 6 of them for 25 yards, maybe gets in the end zone if Keyshawn Vaughn doesn't take that away.
Yeah, I have him at a slightly smaller stat line, but pretty close. I have him closer to 16 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown, and then 3 targets. So we'll see.
Any predictions for the Bears offense?
Oh, definitely. I think Foles is going to have a bounce back week. I think he's going to give you 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, maybe 3. I think you're going to see some points get put up for this Thursday game. I also see Monty having another disappointing week. I don't see him getting more than 40, 45 yards on the ground. Yeah. Maybe another week like he did last week where he catches 2 or 3 targets for 20, 30 yards.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one.
I don't see him scoring. I see Robinson having another good fantasy week, double-digit targets. I don't know if he'll hit 100 yards again this week, but he could. It's going to be a little harder against that Buccaneers secondary, but we'll see. Yeah. I think he will score a touchdown, though.
Yeah, I know there's a corner on the Buccaneers defense that's been shutting down number 1 receivers, so could be up and down from for Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, I see him getting like 10, 11 targets, catching 6 or 7 of them, 80, 90 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, that's fair. Anthony Miller, probably nothing.
At the beginning of the year, I would have told you something, but now I just don't have much faith in him. I mean, he could get 3 or 4 targets and get you 40, 50 yards and a touchdown, because Foles did throw to him the first week that he took over for Trubisky at the end of the game. So he does look for him in the red zone. We'll just have to see if they get more of a connection with each other as the season goes on, really.
Mm-hmm. What about Mr. Graham?
Mr. Jimmy Graham. Honestly, he's a boomer bust touchdown dependent for me. I was kind of excited about him after those 10 targets in week 3, but after seeing him last week, he could have a bounce back game as well. We could see him get, 5 targets, catch 3 of them for 25 yards, but one of them be in the red zone and he gets a touchdown.
Yeah, as far as the Bears offense for me, I think Robinson would be the only player I'm considering throwing out if I had him. Anybody else on the offense really isn't popping out to me for a start.
No, not right now. Because I was hoping Monty was going to be able to do something with Cohen going out, but I don't think he's capable of being a bell cow running back. I think he needs that player in there so they can take players out of the box, because they got to account for Cohen being a slot receiver now. And
right.
I just don't think he's ready to handle a 60-70% snap count right now. He's just not built for it.
Yeah, which is surprising because that's what they, essentially drafted him for.
Yeah, but I mean, once they signed Cohen to that contract, like, you just knew that they were like, okay, he's not what we thought he was going to be.
Yeah, they're probably investing another draft pick for a running back.
Mm-hmm.
But anything else on that Thursday game you want to touch on?
No, not really. Just know that these Thursday night games sometimes can be ridiculously high-scoring affairs because defenses have more trouble with the Thursday night games than offenses do. Mm-hmm. So, guys, do not start the Chicago defense. Do not start the Tampa Bay defense. Always avoid defenses on Thursdays.
Yeah. I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
I started Denver last week on their defense, but they got 6 sacks for me, so that's pretty good.
Yeah. You're going to have that happen and stuff, too, because, your O-line, they're bigger guys, too, so they need a little more rest. But
it was also against the Jets, to be fair.
Yeah, so that's an anomaly when you're playing the Jets on Thursday.
Yeah, so. But that's going to be it for us. Probably just wrap it up. I have no other notes.
No, guys, we're going to give you a little Thursday night mini recap on Friday, and then obviously we'll have our Saturday show where we'll give you start sits questions. We've been getting in quite a few this week. So, guys, keep posted on our social medias. Bruno's about to tell you what those are.
Yeah, our Instagram is The Fantasy Football Units. Our Twitter is Fantasy Units. Our email is thefantasyfootballunits@gmail.com. Don't be scared to hit us up.
Yeah, guys, ask us any questions all the way up until kickoff on Sunday morning. We'll answer them as quickly as we can. Leave us reviews. We are on Apple. We are on Spotify. We are on Stitcher. We are on YouTube. We are on, most likely, if you listen to podcasts, we're on it.
Mm-hmm.
We're still waiting approval from Pandora. So you guys that are still loyal to Pandora and won't listen to us on anything else, we'll get there soon.
Well, they probably won't hear this anyways. But anywho, that'll be it for today. Be well, Unit Gang.
Come with us if you want to win.